Hey guys, this is Shamika again from Live, Love, Life, and Travel. So this is just sort of another part 2, I guess, of my other video. I've been here for 2 months now and just sort of doing like a rundown or a rehash of things that I've learned since I've been here. 2 months is not that long, but it feels like I've been here like for a year. Not in a bad way. It's just like you experience so much that it feels like you've been here longer. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about transportation here in Chiang Mai, taxis. I did a little video on this earlier and I actually learned a lot more since that video. So here in Chiang Mai, just like in other parts of Thailand or Asia, they have the tuk-tuks, which are the pricier mode of transportation. They're more for short distance, but they will go like longer distances. It's just going to cost you a lot more. They have the regular yellow cab taxis, which is not as prominent, but they have them and they are a bit more pricier. And then they have the red car, and I thought that's all they had was a red car. And a red car looks like a little fire truck, and it's kind of like a ride share or a minibus. It's for multiple people. Like you can end up taking one just by yourself, or you can end up taking one when people are literally like hanging on the back, like outside the truck. And so you kind of stand in like, you can stand anywhere, but I'm learning that you mostly stand in like the red and white checkered marked curbs, and then that's sort of like a bus stop, and you wait for the red car taxis. But there's not just a red car. There is a white car, a yellow car, a blue car, and I think I've even seen a gray one. They all look the same but different colors. But the white car is a little slightly bigger than the red car. So I found out that the red car is also really just for more short distances and just like in town, in the city, like Taipei Gate, City Center, Old Town, and maybe Neiman's. They can go long distances, but it's gonna cost you. And the white car, the white taxi, is for like longer distances, and they go out of town, and they're way more like budget friendly. So I mentioned earlier that I decided to get a place called Chaos Apartments, and it's 15 minutes outside of town city center, like northeast of the city center. And I learned quickly that the taxi drivers do not like coming to my place, especially the tuk-tuk drivers and the red car drivers. They moan about it. Like, first of all, you have to go sometimes multiple taxi drivers before someone will agree to take you, and then a lot of times they agree to take you because they didn't really understand what I was saying in the first place. And when they realized how far they had to take you, like the whole entire ride, they was like, oh, so far, and they're just complaining the whole time. They do not like driving. Like I said, I'm from LA. 15 minutes drive is like nothing, but here, since Chiang Mai is quite small, it takes like half an hour just to drive out of town completely. So 15 minutes is, to them, it's a long distance. And so when I first got to Chiang Mai, even though I know the rules about haggling with tuk-tuk drivers and taxi drivers, you're supposed to always haggle. But if you ask around quite a few times and instead of quote you around the same price, you kind of start to find, okay, this is kind of around where it should be. And so when I first got here, I was getting prices from 100 baht to 300 baht. And like 100 baht, like it is like $3 or something. I'm gonna try to get better at like calculating that quicker, so because I say bought this, bought that, and you may not know what I'm talking about. So it's not a lot of money, but you know, you want, if you're gonna be traveling for a while and you want to travel on a budget, you want to not get haggled or hustled too much. And so since that was sort of the price I was sort of getting, I would kind of leave it. I would pay like 150, 200 baht. I would sort of haggle them down and compromise them down around to that price. And so yeah, but and that was me taking the red car from the city to my house. But one day I decided to take the taxi from my house into town, and so not directly from my house. I walked into the main street, which is like 10 minutes away, 10-minute walk from my house, down like this windy road. And I stood at the checkered like red and white curb and held down a taxi, and I believe it was a red car taxi actually, because the red cars do come back from my house, but they're already outside of town, so I still think that's why they charge you a smaller fee. And so I got into the taxi, he said 20 baht, and I was like, wait, 20 baht? Like I missed that, heard that. He didn't say 20 baht. And then I asked a couple that were also foreigners inside the taxi with me, and I was asking them, how much are you paying? And they're like 20 baht. And I was like, 20 baht? Like, I've been paying like 150, 200 baht, being quoted 300 baht since I've been here. And so I paid him 20 baht, and I thought maybe he's just really nice and he just really am trying to look out for the little guy or something. But I took the taxi from my house a few more times after that, and each time was 20 baht and sometimes 15 baht. And so I realized this whole time I was getting like ripped off or quoted way overpriced prices, and I was like, dang, I really got scammed. And so after that, trying to get a taxi back to my house was even more of a pain in the ass, because now I'm like haggling with them, like, I know it's not 100 baht, I know it's not 200 baht, like, I paid 15 baht to get here. How can it go from 15 baht to 250 baht to 300 baht? Like, that's insane. No, like, I'm not paying that. And every taxi driver would be like, you're crazy, I'm not taking you to your house for 20 baht, I don't know where you got that price from, like, you're nuts, like, no way, no one's ever gonna take you home for that much money. So anyway, one day I end up hauling down a tuk-tuk driver after getting passed up by 6 other taxi red car tuk-tuk drivers, and sort of trying to explain to him where I wanted to go, and he didn't really seem to understand, but he said okay. I got him back of his red car, and he took me to the bridge, which was like only 2 blocks away from where I was. And I found out then that is where you take the taxis that goes outside of town, and those are the taxis that are more budget friendly, and that's where you can find the white car taxis. And even though I was a little frustrated that I still had to pay the red car 20 baht just to take me 2 blocks, but at least he educated me, and this is where you go to take the taxi for where you want to live. And so from that time on, now I know that I have to walk to the bridge or take a taxi to the bridge, which is going to be 20 baht, and then I take the white car taxi to my place, which is 15 baht. 15 baht from my place from the bridge, and 20 baht from my place to Taipei Gate. And so it's still like a pain to have to walk to the bridge, but like now I know. And so it wasn't that they were necessarily ripping me off so much, is that they don't go out that far. And the red cars are more of the city cars, and if they do, they are going to charge you a lot more money. So you can still take the red car if you don't mind paying more. And after 6 o'clock, it gets a lot harder to get the red car from the bridge. The later it gets, the harder it gets. So if you're gonna be out partying or drinking at the Yellow Bar, or at Spicy, or at Lucky, or at Rooftop Bar, those are a few of the popular ones out here. If you're not gonna crash at a friend's house, just be prepared to pay more money to get to where you are, because the white cars tend to stop running, or they run less, and it's just harder to find them. And so it becomes so you don't have a choice but to pay that much to get to where you want to go. So once again, like I said, if you're going to live outside of town in Chiang Mai, you have to take those things into consideration. Or rent a motorbike for the month, or just think about those things. So, recap. They are the tuk-tuks, the red cars, the yellow cars, the blue cars, even seen a gray car, and then you have the yellow cabs. The red car is mostly for the city center or Old Town, just more for the city. The white car goes more long distances outside of the city. They're more budget friendly. The red cars are a little bit more expensive. Also, tuk-tuk drivers. I've never taken yellow cab because there's not that many here. Or just rent a bike. Oh, and another thing, where I live, since there are not a lot of tourists, I'm like holding my phone, so it's kind of shaking. I really need to get like a stand or something. But there are not a lot of tourists. They don't rent to foreigners. So if you are moving outside of town, you happen to pass like a rental place, and you're like, oh cool, there's one right here that's so convenient. Like, you might want to ask them, because there's one literally like 10 minutes away from my house. Right where I go take the taxi, there is a rental bike place, and they will not rent to foreigners because they're just not used to renting to foreigners, because this is not the tourist area. This is where the Thai people live, and they only rent to Thais. And so it's really, really annoying that I have to go all the way into town to rent a bike, and then when I drop it off, I have to drop it off in town and then ride all the way back to my place. So another thing to think about when you are staying out here and you're trying to figure out where to live in Chiang Mai. So that is it for now from Live, Love, Life, and Travel. Have an awesome day.